The Xerian Empire was one of the oldest and most feared powers in the galaxy. Its armies were countless, its fleets unchallenged, and its rulers believed no species could ever threaten them. Inside the royal throne hall, tall pillars of glowing crystal stretched toward the ceiling, bathing the vast chamber in cold blue light. Alien banners hung proudly, showing a history of victories carved in silver. Emperor Karaz sat upon the high throne, his four golden eyes watching the room with calm pride. Around him stood his generals, towering warriors with armored scales and sharp, curved horns. They were confident, almost arrogant, as usual. A messenger rushed into the hall, breathing hard. "Your Majesty, we have intercepted a small human colony ship near Sector A-9. Many generals burst into laughter. A human ship in our space? They dare cross our borders?" General Darvax, known for his cruelty, stepped forward with a smirk. "Humans are weak, slow, and emotional. They build tiny ships, nothing more than scrap metal. Shall we capture this little toy and show them their place?" More laughter filled the room. Another general added, "Better yet, destroy it. Let the galaxy see what happens to those who enter Xerian territory without permission." The Emperor raised one hand, and the laughter faded. "Is the human ship armed?" "No, Your Majesty," the messenger answered. "It appears to be a simple colony vessel. Families, workers, supplies. Harmless." The generals chuckled again. Harmless was a word they loved, but one figure in the room did not laugh. Elder Sorik, an ancient Xyrian wrapped in dark ceremonial robes, slowly rose from his seat. His voice, though old, carried weight. "Do not attack the humans," he said quietly. The amusement around the room stopped. A few generals exchanged confused glances. Sorik had once been a great commander, but he had retired long ago. Some now saw him only as a relic of the past. General Darvax smirked. "Elder Sorik, why should we fear humans? They are barely above animals." Sorik lifted his gaze, and there was something haunting in his eyes. "You do not understand them," he said. "I have seen what humans become when they are pushed. I have seen their strength, their fury." The Emperor's eyebrow twitched. "Explain." Sorik stepped forward slowly. "Years ago, when I was still a commander, I fought against humans. Back then, they were weaker than they are now. Their weapons were simple, their ships were small, their armies were untrained." He paused, and yet they terrified us. The generals frowned. One of them scoffed, "You exaggerate. Humans cannot frighten the Xyrian Empire." Sorik shook his head. "You have never seen them under pressure. You have never watched how fast they learn, how quickly they adapt. No species in the galaxy evolves as fast as humans. They may start weak, but they do not stay weak." His voice deepened. "They do not fear death. They fear failing their own kind. If even one human colony is threatened, they will unite with a rage and determination that no force can stop." The throne room fell strangely quiet. General Darvax growled, "You speak as if humans could defeat us." Sorik looked at him directly. "If you attack the humans, your empire will burn to ashes." Gasps echoed through the chamber. A few generals laughed nervously, trying to hide their discomfort. "Impossible. Madness. This old fool is losing his mind." But Sorik did not blink. "I fought humans when they were far less powerful than they are now," he said. "Even then, they were dangerous. Today they are stronger, smarter, united. You do not see it because you look down on them, but mark my words, threaten their people, and you will summon a storm that even the Xerian Empire cannot control." The Emperor's voice cut through the room. "Enough." Sorik bowed his head slightly but did not sit down. Karos rose from his throne, tall and imposing. "Elder Sorik, your tale is dramatic, but the Xerian Empire does not fear humans. We do not fear any species." Sorik's voice softened. "My Emperor, please listen. Do not start a war with them. They will not strike first, but if you provoke them, they will fight until the stars themselves collapse." Karos narrowed his eyes. "You truly believe humans could destroy us?" Sorik held his gaze. "Not just believe, I know," the generals muttered angrily. Their pride could not accept such a warning. The Emperor turned away from Sorik and looked toward his war strategists. "Prepare the first assault fleet," he ordered coldly. "If humans dare enter our space, we shall capture them and remind the galaxy who rules these stars." Sorik closed his eyes in sorrow. "You make a mistake that will echo across the galaxy," he whispered. But the Emperor ignored him. "Ready the fleet," Karos repeated. "We will crush these humans before they become a problem." The throne room erupted into movement. Generals rushed to give orders. Officers hurried to alert the armada. Pride filled their steps. Dangerous, blinding pride. Sorik stood alone in the center of the hall. No one looked at him. No one listened. He raised his voice one last time. "Do not attack the humans. They are not what you think. If you strike them, you will awaken something far worse than war." But his words fell on deaf ears. The Emperor turned back to his throne, confident and unshaken. "Humans?" he muttered. "They will break easily." Sorik whispered the final chilling truth to himself. "They will not break. They will break you." Outside, in the distant stars, the Zirian assault fleet launched into the darkness, flying straight toward the very species Sorik feared most, humanity. And the galaxy was about to learn why his warning should have been obeyed. The Zirian First Assault Fleet glided through space like a formation of metal beasts searching for prey. Dozens of warships, sharp, angular, and shining with blue energy, moved in perfect military formation. Their mission was simple: intercept the human colony ship and teach humans their place. As the Emperor had commanded, in the flagship Vorgath's Fist, Captain Rexar stood proudly on the command deck. His tall frame and hardened scales made him look born for war. Around him, officers monitored sensors, weapons, and communications. "Target in sight," reported the navigation officer. On the large view screen, a small human colony vessel appeared. A slow-moving ship with cargo containers, life pods, and environmental domes. It looked harmless, peaceful, weak. Rexar grinned. "Humans send children's toys into our space. Prepare the tractor beam. Bring them aboard." But before the order could be carried out, the communication officer lifted a hand. "Captain, incoming transmission from the human vessel." Rexar frowned. "Play it." A calm human voice filled the bridge. "Zirian vessels. We come peacefully. We have families aboard. Please allow us safe passage. We request diplomatic contact." Rexar burst into laughter. His officers joined him. "Pathetic," he said. "They enter our space and beg for mercy. Fire a warning shot across their hull. Let them learn who rules this sector." The ship shook slightly as the Zirians launched a glowing plasma bolt. It streaked past the human vessel, lighting up the darkness. The human ship sent another message immediately. "We repeat, we do not want conflict. Please hold your fire. Our people are unarmed." Rexar scoffed. "They think their words matter." He raised his hand again. "Charge main cannons, aim closer this time." But then everything changed. A sharp alarm blare. Ed across the bridge. "Captain!" shouted the sensor officer. "3 unknown ships just appeared directly behind us." Rexar spun around. "Behind us? How did they get so close without detection?" The view screen flickered and switched. 3 sleek human warships hovered in perfect formation. They were nothing like the weak designs shown in Zirian intelligence files. These ships were smooth, armored, and glowing with golden energy patterns. Their engines looked alive. Their hulls had no visible seams. "These cannot be human ships," whispered an officer. "Their technology, this is impossible." Rexar's claws tightened on his command chair. "Scan them." The sensor officer shook his head, confused. I can't. Their hulls reject all scans. We cannot measure their weapons, shields, or engines." A chill swept across the bridge. Then a voice came through the communication system, calm, controlled, human. "Zirian fleet, stand down. Your actions threaten our civilians." "We do not want war," Rexar growled. "They dare command us? Humans?" He barked at his tactical officer. "Lock weapons on the nearest human ship." Before the officer could even respond, the human voice returned. "Do not fire. This is your final warning." Rexar slammed his claw down. "Fire!" His flagship's cannons roared to life and launched a full plasma barrage, direct hits at the closest human warship. The bridge crew watched, with twisted satisfaction, but their satisfaction lasted only 1 second, because the plasma vanished. Not exploded, not deflected, not absorbed. It simply vanished, dissolving in mid-space like mist touched by sunlight. The bridge went silent. Rexar stared, his mouth open. What happened to the plasma? His tactical officer stammered, "Captain!" It didn't hit. It didn't register. It just disappeared. Rexar roared, "Fire again." But before he finished speaking, the human ships responded, not with weapons, not with missiles, not with violence. A soft blue wave pulsed from all three human vessels, silent, gentle, almost peaceful. And then, every system on the Xerian flagship shut down. Lights flickered out. Engines died, weapons powered off, navigation froze. Even life support went into emergency mode. The ship drifted helplessly. Across the fleet, chaos erupted. "Captain, we've lost all power, all systems dead. We cannot move. We are disabled." Rexar slammed his fists against the console, but nothing happened. The mighty Xerian warship, once feared across the galaxy, now floated like a dead shell. On the main screen, one of the human warships glowed gently as its commander continued speaking. "We repeat, we do not wish for war. Your fleet is safe. We have disabled your systems temporarily to prevent loss of life." The calm tone made the humiliation even worse. Rexar's second-in-command whispered, "Captain, we cannot win. These humans, they are beyond us." Rexar stared at the screen, breathing heavily. "No, I refuse to believe it." Another transmission arrived, this time from the original human colony ship. "We warned you. We asked for peace, but you fired first. This is your consequence." The entire Xerian fleet listened in shame. Then the human commander spoke again. "We will restore your systems shortly. Then you will leave this sector. Do not harm our civilians again." The message ended. Rexar collapsed into his chair, defeated. The youngest officer on the bridge finally whispered what everyone was thinking. Elder Sorek was right. Rexar didn't respond. He couldn't, because for the first time in their lives, the Xyrians had seen something they never expected. Humans were no longer weak. Humans were no longer prey. Humans were something far more dangerous. And now the Empire knew. Attacking humanity was not only foolish, it was the first step toward burning their own empire to ashes. The throne room of the Xerian Empire felt colder than ever. The great crystal pillars that once shone with royal pride now cast long, uneasy shadows across the floor. Every general, strategist, and council member wore the same expression. Confusion mixed with fear. Word of the first assault fleet's humiliation had already reached the Emperor, the strongest battle group in the Empire, disabled by 3 human ships without a single shot fired. Now Elder Sorek was summoned again. The guards escorted him into the chamber where Emperor Karos waited, his golden eyes sharper than before. The Emperor spoke slowly, trying to control his anger. "Elder Sorek, the fleet you warned us not to send has been defeated." Sorek bowed slightly. "I know, my Emperor. The humans were merciful." "Merciful?" General Darvac spat. "They humiliated us. They shut down our warships like toys." Sorek turned his calm gaze toward him. "And yet they did not destroy you." Darvax growled, but fell silent. Even he could not deny that point. The Emperor stepped down from his throne, moving closer to Sorek. "You warned us that humans were dangerous, but you never explained how they became so powerful. Speak now. I want the truth." Sorek nodded. "Then you shall have it." He walked to the center of the chamber. The glowing floor reflected his image as he began. "Humans have changed in ways the galaxy does not understand," he said. "A long time ago, when I was still a commander, we fought a small war against them. You all believed it was easy, routine. You believed humans were no threat." He closed his eyes for a moment, remembering, "But you did not see what I saw." The chamber fell silent. Sorek continued. "Years ago, my fleet attacked a human moon. We expected an easy victory. The humans had old weapons, slow ships, and weak defenses. But something happened that none of us predicted." He paused. "They fought like fire." The Emperor's eyes narrowed. "Explain." Sorek's voice became deeper. "When humans are threatened, they do not retreat. They do not surrender. They do not calculate how to save themselves. They think only of protecting each other. Even when facing death, they stand their ground. Their unity becomes unstoppable." One strategist frowned. "Unity? Humans argue constantly. They fight among themselves," Sorek nodded. "Yes, until something threatens them. Then they transform." He lifted a trembling hand. "Our invasion of their moon should have lasted minutes. It lasted days. They fought us with everything they had, with tools, with old rifles, with broken ships, with nothing but determination and anger. They refused to let us pass." He took a breath, "and they nearly won." The entire council gasped. General Darvac shook his head violently. "Impossible. Humans had inferior technology. They could never stand against us." Sorik turned toward him. Then how did they nearly burn half my fleet? How did their primitive weapons punch through our shields? How did they fight after losing their defenses? Darvax had no answer. The Emperor folded his arms. So humans were fierce. That does not explain their new power. Their ships today are far beyond anything they had during your time. Sorik nodded. Yes, and that is the second truth. Humans learn. They evolve, faster than any species I have seen. He pointed toward the hollow screen, which displayed the disabled Zirian fleet. Every defeat, every challenge, every threat pushes humanity forward. They adapt like wildfire. They grow stronger from every failure. Their weakness becomes strength. Their struggle becomes innovation. The Emperor frowned. Are you saying humans built those ships because of us? Sorik looked at him steadily. Partly because of us. But sly, because of themselves. The chamber murmured again. Sorik lifted his voice. A few years after our invasion attempt, humans began uniting their nations. They stopped fighting each other and turned their attention to one shared goal: advancement. They began studying new sciences. They built stronger fleets. They pushed boundaries no other race dared to test. A science officer asked, but their technology, it is beyond modern science. Their ships are powered by energy we cannot identify. Sorik nodded gravely. That is the final truth. Humans have discovered something new, something old, something powerful. The council leaned in closer. Sorik continued. During their rapid development, humans found a new energy source, one the galaxy has never seen before. Their ships are not just advanced, they are powered by something unknown, something we cannot measure, something dangerous. General Darvax frowned. And how do you know this? Sorik shut his eyes. Because I witnessed the beginning of it. My last mission before retiring was on the border of human space. We detected strange energy pulses. We assumed they were tests of new reactors. But the readings were too strong, too stable, too unnatural. He looked at the Emperor. Humans have found a power the galaxy does not understand. Their warships now move like predators in the dark. Their cores glow like small suns. And you saw what they can do. They can shut down entire fleets without firing a weapon. The Emperor looked shaken for the first time. If what you say is true, why did they let us go? Why not destroy us? Sorik gave a sad smile. Because humans do not destroy unless forced. They value life, even of their enemies. But if you threaten their people, they will become a storm the galaxy cannot escape. He stepped closer to the Emperor. You asked why I warned you. This is why. Humans were once weak. Now they are strong. Stronger than us. Stronger than you believe. Varix, the Emperor's advisor, whispered, if humans wanted to conquer the galaxy, they already could. The room fell silent. The Emperor finally spoke, his voice low and troubled. Then what do humans want? Sorik answered. They want peace, but they will not bow, and if we push them, our empire will burn. The words echoed across the chamber like thunder. For the first time in centuries, the Zirian Empire understood fear, and humanity, once dismissed as weak, had become a force the galaxy could no longer ignore. The throne room remained quiet long after Elder Sorik finished speaking. His warning hung in the air like a shadow no one wanted to acknowledge. The Emperor said nothing at first, staring at the glowing floor with tight fists. His generals stood still, waiting for his command, afraid of what it might be. Finally, Emperor Karaz looked up. We will not be ruled by fear, he said. Humans may be stronger than before, but the Zirian Empire does not bow. Our numbers alone can crush them. Elder Sorik lowered his head. My Emperor, listen to reason, but Karos raised a hand sharply. Enough? I will not fear a species that lived in caves only a few generations ago. The generals nodded, eager to follow the Emperor's pride rather than Sorik's wisdom. General Darvax stepped forward. Your Majesty, our full war fleet has over 800 ships. Humans cannot match those numbers. Sorik smiled sadly. You still believe numbers matter? Darvax bared his teeth. Numbers always matter. No, Sorik whispered. Not against humans, but no one listened. The order spread quickly. Launched the second Grand Invasion Fleet. Hundreds of ships were prepared. Battle cruisers, plasma frigates, missile carriers, shield barges. Thousands of crew members rushed aboard. The Zirian Empire believed in one truth. Quantity crushes resistance. Generals gathered in the war room, admiring the holographic display of their fleet forming like a metal storm. This will teach humans to stay out of our space, one said. Let this be the battle that proves Elder Sorek wrong, another added. Sorek himself stood silently in a corner, watching the madness unfold. Every instinct in him screamed that this decision would lead to disaster. But no one wanted caution. They wanted victory, without mercy, without pause, without understanding. The Emperor entered the war room, his long robe trailing behind him like a dark wave. Set course for human border world Theta 7. We will destroy their presence there. Sorek's voice was soft but firm. If you go there, disaster will meet you. Karaz turned cold eyes toward him. If humans truly fear us, they will surrender when they see our fleet. And if they do not surrender, Sorek asked gently. Karaz clenched his jaw. Then we will crush them. Sorek closed his eyes. Then your empire will taste the fire I warned you about. The Zirian fleet moved like a massive storm cloud through deep space, engines glowing blue as they entered human territory. Commander after commander reported flawless formations. Human space border crossed. No resistance detected. All systems normal. Many officers grinned. So much for the great human threat. But minutes later, the smiles vanished. A sudden alarm blared. Multiple energy signatures detected. Unknown ships appearing, hundreds of them, on the main screen. Bright flashes appeared one after another as sleek human warships dropped out of hyperspace. Their shapes were smooth and dark, glowing faintly with golden lines that seemed almost alive. They moved without sound, without delay, without fear. In seconds, the Zirian fleet was surrounded. Impossible, Darvax roared. How did they arrive so fast? Sorek had an answer. Boo. He wasn't here to speak it. A human voice echoed across every ship through emergency comm channels. Zirian Empire, you have violated human sovereign space. Turn back immediately. We do not wish for war. Rage filled Darvax's voice. Humans dare threaten us? He aimed the fleet's main cannons. Open fire. A desperate message from the human commander followed. This is your final warning. Leave now. The Zirians laughed and then fired. Hundreds of plasma bolts shot across space. Bright, deadly streams of blue energy racing toward the human formation, but before the bolts could hit, the human ships shimmered. A golden wave pulsed outward, silent and gentle like the breath of a sleeping star. The plasma vanished. Every shot, every missile, every weapon discharge disappeared like smoke swallowed by wind. Then the shockwave hit, not explosive, not violent, not deadly, just absolute. The Zirian fleet shook violently. Lights flickered, engines died, weapons powered down, control systems froze. Captain, we lost engine control. Weapons offline, shields gone. We can't move. Every ship in the fleet went silent at once. Lifeless metal floating in space. Panic swept across the Zirian commanders. What is happening? We are losing everything. This can't be real. We're powerless. Then human boarding pods arrived. But they weren't violent. They weren't destructive. They didn't carry bombs or soldiers with swords. They carried teams, small, calm, efficient operatives who boarded Zirian ships in seconds. The Zirians tried to resist, but their weapons wouldn't fire. Their doors wouldn't lock. Their security systems wouldn't activate. The humans moved like ghosts. They disabled engines, locked command decks, sealed weapon ports, shut down reactor cores, all without harming anyone. Some Zirian officers trembled as humans walked past them with quiet confidence. No anger, no cruelty, just duty. In less than 15 minutes, the great Zirian invasion fleet was defeated, not destroyed, not damaged, just humiliated. A message appeared on every screen. Return to your space. Do not attack again. We will not warn you a third time. The human ships withdrew as quietly as they had arrived, and the Zirian fleet drifted helplessly, ashamed and powerless. Back in the throne room, Elder Sorek awaited the Emperor's return. When the defeated generals arrived, their faces pale with fear, Sorek already knew the outcome. The Emperor's voice cracked. They spared us again. Sorek nodded. Humans do not seek conquest, the Emperor whispered, but if we push them too far. Sorek finished the sentence softly. They will burn the Empire to ashes, and finally, The emperor believed him. The Zyrian Empire had lost 2 fleets, yet Emperor Karos still refused to accept defeat. Pride had been carved into his bones since birth. The idea that humans, once considered a weak, messy, emotional species, could overpower his great empire was something he simply could not accept. The throne room trembled with anger as he paced across the floor. Humans embarrassed us twice, Karos growled. They shut down our ships as if we were children. But they have not faced the full might of the Zyrian Empire. General Darvax nodded eagerly. Your Majesty, our superweapon is ready. 1 shot will erase their starbase from existence. Elder Sorik closed his eyes in pain. Do not do this, my Emperor. You are about to cross a line from which you cannot return. Humans have shown mercy. Do not repay them with destruction. Karos spun toward him. Mercy? No. They humiliated us. They mocked us by letting us live. His voice hardened. If we strike a blow they cannot ignore, they will finally respect us. Sorik shook his head slowly. No, Emperor. Hay will not respect you. They will end you. But Karos was beyond listening. Deep in the Zyrian system known as Karix-12, the Empire kept its greatest secret, the Solar Piercer, a weapon capable of unleashing a beam so powerful it could burn through moons and vaporize fleets. Only a handful of commanders had ever seen it fired. Now, Emperor Karos prepared to unleash it on a human starbase near the border. Inside the Solar Piercer control room, officers worked nervously. Target locked on human starbase Theta-7, energy cores at full charge. Firing sequence ready. The Emperor appeared on the main screen. Fire, a bright, roaring beam of destructive energy shot from the weapon, tearing through the void like a burning spear, aimed straight at humanity. The officers cheered. General Darvax grinned. It is done. Humans will finally understand their place. Elder Sorik whispered to himself, No, you still don't understand theirs. Across the border, the human starbase Theta-7 glowed softly in the darkness. Families lived there. Workers, scientists, children. The Solar Piercer's deadly beam struck the starbase at full force. The Zyrian generals leaned forward eagerly, and then nothing happened. The human starbase absorbed the entire blast like water soaking into dry soil. Its metallic surface glowed brighter and brighter, but the structure remained untouched, solid, unshaken, unharmed. A stunned silence spread through the Zyrian control chamber. What happened? Did we miss? No, the energy readings show a direct hit, but the station is intact. It absorbed everything. Panic crept into the generals' voices. For the first time, Emperor Karos felt the cold bite of true fear. What kind of technology do humans possess? He whispered. Elder Sorik finally turned toward him. The kind that makes your greatest weapon meaningless. Before anyone company. Old respond, alarms blared. New signature detected. Massive human ship arriving. It's emerging from hyperspace. Space tore open like the sky splitting apart. A gigantic warship emerged, larger than anything the Zyrians had ever imagined. The Solar Wrath, humanity's ultimate flagship. Its hull glowed with patterns of fire-red light. Energy rolled across its surface like waves of sunlight. The forward core burned bright and golden, like a miniature star trapped inside metal. The Zyrian commanders stared in terror. That ship, it feels alive. What are humans? How can a species advance this fast? Elder Sorik whispered the name with reverence and dread. The Solar Wrath. The Emperor swallowed hard. Is that their strongest ship? Sorik shook his head. It is simply one of them. Karos's legs trembled. The Solar Wrath moved slowly into orbit above the human starbase. No weapons were aimed, no warnings given, no threats issued. It simply existed there, powerful, beyond comprehension. Then a human voice echoed through every Zyrian battleship, every control room, every command center. Zyrian Empire. You fired your superweapon at civilians. We are forced to respond. The Emperor gasped. They are going to destroy us. But the human voice continued. We will not harm your people, but we must show you the danger of your path. The Solar Wrath turned toward a nearby asteroid, one the size of a small moon. A bright, focused beam shot from its core, not loud, not explosive, just pure, silent power. The asteroid vaporized instantly, turned to dust in less than a second. The Zyrian fleet watched in shock as the dust scattered into space like smoke blown by a gentle wind. Nothing in their empire, no weapon, no reactor, no technology, had ever produced such force. Elder Sorik whispered, This is why I warned you. On every Zirian ship, officers trembled. If humans wanted us gone, they could destroy our planets, our fleets, our entire empire. And the terrifying truth settled heavily on every mind. Humans had chosen mercy. Not weakness, mercy. For the first time, Emperor Karos's pride shattered. He sank into his throne shaking. We cannot fight them. Sorik stepped beside him. I have tried to tell you, humanity is not your enemy unless you force them to be. Karos covered his face with trembling hands. What have I done? Sorik placed a gentle hand on the Emperor's shoulder. You have been given a lesson, one that few rulers survive long enough to learn. The solar wrath broadcast one final message. This is your last warning. If you attack humanity again, we will defend ourselves fully. Choose peace. The transmission ended. The solar wrath turned away, escorting the starbase back to safety. The Empire watched in humbled silence. When the war room emptied, Emperor Karos whispered, If this is what humans can do now, what will they become in the future? Sorik answered softly, They will become whatever they must, for peace or for war. The choice, my emperor, is yours, and for the first time in the empire's long history, the emperor chose humility because he finally understood. You do not attack humanity, you survive only because humanity allows it. The throne room of the Zirian Empire had never been so silent. The bright crystal pillars that usually reflected the emperor's pride now felt cold and distant. Officers stood in trembling lines. Generals kept their eyes lowered. And even the emperor himself seemed smaller than before. Word of the solar wrath's devastating demonstration had traveled faster than any ship. The message was clear. Humans had strength the empire could not match, but they also had mercy the empire did not expect. The emperor had spent the night alone staring into the endless space outside his private chamber. He replayed every warning Elder Sorik had given him, every mistake he had made. Every moment where pride had blinded him. By morning, his decision was made. The emperor summoned Elder Sorik and his council to the throne hall. His voice, once booming and proud, was now quiet. Send a message to humanity, he said softly. Request peace before we destroy ourselves. A ripple of shock passed through the generals. Never in Zirian history had an emperor asked for peace. Not after being humiliated, not after losing battles, not after displaying weakness. General Darvak stepped forward, trembling. Your Majesty, are you certain? We are the Zirian Empire. We cannot bow. Karos closed his eyes. We already bowed the moment humans let us live. Elder Sorik exhaled, relieved. You have made the only wise choice, my Emperor. The message was sent, a single phrase broadcast into the quiet cosmos. Humanity. We request dialogue. Minutes later, a reply arrived. We accept. The Emperor's shoulders dropped with relief. A transport ship from the solar wrath soon entered Zirian orbit. It was escorted by 2 small human ships, sleek, silent, and glowing with warm golden energy. They did not aim weapons. They did not boast. They simply moved with quiet confidence. Inside the throne room, soldiers and nobles watched as the doors opened. A human ambassador stepped inside. Not a soldier, not a warrior, just a calm, composed man wearing a dark uniform with the insignia of Earth. He bowed his head politely, not fearfully. Thank you for agreeing to speak, the ambassador said. The emperor nodded, trying to hide his shaking hands. We welcome you, the ambassador smiled gently. Do not fear. We come only to talk. Even that sentence shook the hearts of the Zirians. Humans had the power to crush them, yet they offered peace. The emperor took a deep breath. Ambassador, your species has shown mercy twice. Why? The human man folded his hands behind him. Because destroying you would solve nothing. We do not want to rule your empire. We do not want your resources, and we do not want war. He stepped closer to the center of the hall. We only want safety for our people. The emperor lowered his head. We attacked your civilians. We fired our strongest weapon. We sent fleets into your territory. Yes, the ambassador said gently. But you can choose a different path now. A general whispered to another, they do not hold grudges like we do. The ambassador continued. If you attack us again, we will defend ourselves with everything we have. But if you choose peace, we will stand beside you, not against you. The hall fell silent again. The emperor finally spoke the words he once believed he would never say. We are ready for peace. The human ambassador nodded. Then we accept your friendship. Elder Sorik smiled for the first time in years. A glowing white table was placed in the center of the hall. The treaty document, simple, clear, and fair, was projected above it. The emperor stepped forward first, placing his clawed hand into the light. A signature formed. A small glowing mark appeared beside it, the symbol of the solar wrath. The human ambassador then added his signature. A warm ripple of light spread through the chamber, sealing the treaty for the first time in centuries. The Zyrian Empire and humanity stood together. When the signing was complete, Elder Sorik approached the emperor. My emperor, he said softly, you have saved our people from destruction. Karos looked at him with tired eyes. You were right. Humans are strong. Sorik shook his head gently. That is not the lesson. The emperor frowned. Then what is? Sorik turned toward the human ambassador, watching him. Peak with the generals. Do not fear humans because they are powerful, Sorik said. Fear what they become when pushed. Fear how they unite. Fear how they protect their own. He placed a hand on the emperor's shoulder. But respect them because they fight only when forced. And even then, they show mercy. The emperor swallowed hard. I will not forget, Sorik nodded. If we push humans too far, the galaxy will burn. But if we walk beside them, the galaxy will survive. As the human delegation prepared to leave, the ambassador turned to the emperor. Let this be a new chapter, he said, a future where our species grows stronger together. The emperor bowed his head. We will honor this peace. When the humans departed, the throne room felt lighter, almost peaceful. The generals, once filled with arrogance, now carried a new understanding. The empire had not been defeated. It had been taught, and humanity had taught them with restraint, not destruction. In the weeks that followed, rumors spread across the galaxy. The Zyrian Empire made peace with humans. Humans spared them. Again, maybe humans are the true guardians of this age, and far beyond the Zyrian border, on a distant Earth ship, a human commander remarked, another empire learned the lesson. Good, we don't want war, but we will never run from one. Elder Sorik stood on a balcony overlooking the stars and whispered, humans may be kind, but they are never weak, and the galaxy would remember that forever.